Yo guys, I know it's been a while since the last update, and I want to thank everyone who's been patient and stuck around. I can finally give you a proper update video. I've wanted to do it for a long time, but the time wasn't right. You guys want to know if part 2 is still happening, and I don't want to hide the answer at the end of the video. So yes, it is happening. Unfortunately, the project had to be paused for quite a long time. There's gonna be very good news at the end though, so for those who have the time, please bear with me. Well, the truth is, I ran into some huge, unexpected personal stuff. You know, of course I can't go into too much detail, but I can tell you it kind of started with financial struggles. Honestly, 2024 was by far the worst year of my life. So basically life knocked me really out. I lost so much motivation to do anything pretty much, and it became really hard to focus on the channel, even though I never gave up on it. Before I wanted to slowly start getting into my YouTube channel again, I wanted to make sure I'm mentally there. Eventually, when I was mentally doing better, this project just became this massive mountain in front of me, and I just didn't know where to start climbing again. Last year I had this mindset of, I'll get back to it when I'm ready, but that moment where I felt ready was never there. So where is it at now? Well, this year started off very well. Most of the keyframes are actually already done. It definitely looks like a huge step up from part 1. Originally, part 2 was supposed to be between 8 and 10 minutes long, but at the end of 2024 I decided to split it just to make it more manageable for me. Ironically though, even after splitting, it still ended up being the same length. Because of that split though, some really cool scenes unfortunately couldn't make it in part 2. The Gallic Kamehameha, for example, was one of them. But the version you'll get is still a banger on its own. For example, the Black Frieza scene is still in there. The scenes that would have been in the second half would only appear in a possible part 3. And I say possible because honestly, let's keep it real. Superhero isn't that relevant anymore. When you understand the backstory of how this project started, you'll see why continuing beyond part 2 doesn't really make that much sense. But still, I do want to be fair with you. Remember how I said in part 1, if the video gets 20k likes, you'll get a part 2? Already back then, I didn't even want to continue it. But since you crushed it like it was nothing, I just felt like I have to give you a part 2. And I'm gonna do the same with part 2. So if the part 2 video hits the like goal that I will set in that video, and it really shows that enough people still care about it, I will consider wrapping it up with part 3. But the thing is, this whole animation was never meant to become a series. It just started as a little animation before the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie was coming out. Back then there were only trailers out and I just saw the potential. I wanted to do a quick animation to make use of the hype. But back then we didn't even know anything about the movie yet. That's why the story doesn't really make any sense in this. Like Gamma 1 and 2 working with Cell, or Gohan becoming Super Saiyan 4 instead of Beast. And when we hit about the 5-minute mark in the project, my team was like, yo, can you like make it longer? And I was like, bro, I don't want to make this longer. But they convinced me, so we did make it longer. But I said, yo, I want to get this done fast, right? We were already rushing this, trying to get this out before the movie comes out. And I just wanted to get the video out, so we rushed it until the end. That's why the pacing is so bad. That's why nothing really makes sense. That's why the animation isn't that great. But as I said in the beginning of part 1, it was not meant to be like this huge, crazy project or anything like that. Just look at this project like enjoying a little bit of animation while we wait for more Dragon Ball. You know, just watch it and have fun, that's it. But unfortunately, some people, especially on Twitter, did take this serious. So there was a hate wave on Twitter, mainly because Cell killed Pan. You know, because people are tired of seeing Gohan getting traumatized. I get it. But let's keep it real. They still did it in the official movie, just less extreme. You know, traumatizing Gohan and using his anger and all that stuff. I really wasn't trying to be deep or something like that. I just figured Gohan is probably gonna get a new form. And that just was the quickest way to get him there. You know, for me it was like, oh yeah, kill off Pan. I get it, people don't like that. I'm not really into the fan manga side of things, but apparently there are other like fan fictions where that happens a lot or something like that. But I wouldn't even call what I've done writing. I think you understand how it got to that point now. We were in a rush, and it really wasn't that serious. At first I didn't even know about the hate because it was only on Twitter. But then eventually people started coming from Twitter to my channel, and I was just confused because I thought I was clear in the beginning of part 1. You know, some people were also calling out that it didn't look good, and I'm glad it was my scene they were talking about, because I have other people in my team that helped me, and of course I don't want people to make fun of them. Before that, basically nobody knew me, and all of a sudden people were making fun of my animation. And out of that whole mess, a meme was born. Tweaking Gohan. You probably know it. Everyone does at this point. You know, people were even remaking it, people were making memes with it all over the place. And at first I did take it a bit personal, cause I just wasn't used to that attention. But it didn't take long until I started using the meme myself. But here's the thing. Despite all the chaos, part 1 was still a massive success. Most people loved it. If you were one of those who didn't like it, that is totally fine. But don't try to ruin it for others. This was my first bigger project, and yeah, it had a lot of issues, trust me. I can't even look at some of my stuff in there. But it blew up, luckily. It got millions and millions of views across social media, tons of reaction videos, and even the teaser for part 2 got praised by the official Dragon Ball Super anime director on Twitter. People made fan art, a bunch of memes, and I got so many kind comments and DMs. And I always had this dream of making this a full-time thing at some point. And for the first time, it felt like the hard work might actually pay off. But the reality is, the money wasn't even close to matching the time I invested. Animation takes a huge amount of time. And when you're a smaller creator, you really have to grow first before you see any real reward. Which, you know, it's normal, you need to grow first. I wish I could have kept the momentum after I uploaded, but as I said at the beginning, stuff just came in between. You know, last year eventually I wanted to slowly start working on it again, but then sometimes my financial situation just didn't allow it. I just had to take commission to get by. And I had other projects I was involved in, like Dragon Ball Deliverance, for example. I've wanted to make this video for so long, but I didn't want to come back until I had good news. I know it's been a very long time, but finally I do have good news. I finished every other project I was involved in. At the moment I would only take commissions when I absolutely have to. You need to understand, this isn't my job. You know, I got a life just like you. But still, I'm investing a gigantic amount of time in this. So if you support me, for example, on Patreon, that would definitely help me focus on part 2. Because then I wouldn't have to take on commissions. But as a little thank you for all the patience, I've got a brand new short animation for you. Ultra Vegito vs Black Frieza. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and the teaser drops. If you want to be part of the community or share your own work, hop into our Discord server, link is in the description. And as I mentioned before, if you want to support what I'm doing, you can check out my Patreon. For those who don't know what Patreon is, it's a way to support your favorite creators financially. If you become a Patreon, you get access to exclusive screenshots, early clips, and behind the scenes content. Basically, you get to see stuff that others can't. I got a link for that in the description as well. Alright guys, thanks again for sticking with me. You've been way more patient than I ever could have asked for. Part 2 is on the way. See ya!